Hi guys, Stuff of Nonsense, lesson number 20. Lesson 20. So it's the end of our week, my week on YouTube, so I'll be looking at the forums again tomorrow morning. I did it this morning. Going well, especially in one of the classes. One class, where are your comments on memories of puberty? The other class is way ahead of you. I have no idea if it's Tuesday, Thursday, because Wednesday, Friday, I don't know what, because we lost track of those kinds of measures. Okay, so two things. One is I want to talk a little bit about the creative project, just to throw a touch more. And then I want to talk about drugs in Alice. That came up in one of the forums this morning, and I thought, oh, that's a kind of a good talk for end of the week, just to sort of open-ended conversation and tell you what I know about Lewis Carroll and drugs, which is, I think you'll find interesting. Okay, so for the creative project, one thing you can do is think about reversal. And I've mentioned this already. I think I gave the example of how we walk a dog, but what if the dog walked you, right? So you might look at ordinary life, observe what's going on and think, well, what if it was different, right? What if, what if kids ran the world, little kids, instead of grown-up politicians or whatever? Like just reversing the way things normally are, right? Instead of us going to buy, what if people, I don't know, what if it was reversed? We were the sellers, I don't know of what. Anyway, but I thought I would mention to you about using reversal, which is a very common theme, or a common technique, I should say, in both Alice books. Okay, so that was my little suggestion to you for the projects, and also to make sure they're nonsense enough, because some of you have been writing to me with ideas and they sound in principle okay, but make sure they're sort of upside down, which is what the reversal is, or funny or unexpected, right? That would be unification. So you get that. Okay, let's move to drugs in Alice. Okay, so the one big reference to drugs, of course, is the caterpillar, right? Caterpillar, mushroom, the state of the caterpillar. He addresses Alice, and I don't have the book in front of me, it's next to me on the desk, languid, sleepy voice. And this suggests a user of opiates, okay? So and the fact that he's smoking a pipe, right? He's smoking a hookah pipe on a mushroom. So Lewis Carroll's he knows what he's doing here. It's full of references to drugs. Okay, so the mushroom, I don't know if you're aware of this, something called a psilocybin mushroom, and some people call them, I guess kids call them shrooms or edible mushrooms. Okay, psilocybin, Psilocybin, and Lewis Carroll could have known about psilocybin mushrooms. I think he wouldn't have put the caterpillar smoking the hookah on the mushroom then with the languid, sleepy voice. There seemed to be 3 references to drug use. So even very primitive cultures like the Incas used psilocybin. There's references to that in literature. So he could have known about that. Okay. The next thing that I want to tell you is the hookah pipe. If you look at the hookah pipe, it had the picture, which is based on Lewis Carroll's own drawing that he did originally, because he gave Alice an illustrated copy of the book. And then the first artist, Tenniel, used Lewis Carroll's drawings as source of inspiration. And the hookah pipe stayed the same. A very wide bowl and a very long stem, if you look at the illustration. And that suggests that the stem would be used for cooling something, liquid resin. And something that, I don't know if any of you would have any idea of what could be a burning liquid resin. One could be hashish, would be a liquid resin. And one that Lewis Carroll would have known about was opium. Okay, so what did Lewis Carroll know about drugs? There's a few facts, okay, what we're aware of. One, he read a book called Diary of an Opium Eater by a writer named Thomas de Quincey. So we know because he commented on the book. So he was aware of people who used opium. Okay, next, he had the sleeping disorder, right? Because he was an insomniac. I think I have already mentioned that to you. And in those days, laudanum, Laudanum, in case you care. Laudanum was used to treat insomnia, and you could get laudanum from the pharmacy, not impossible. And laudanum is derived from opium. So could he have used it? Might he have had sort of these experiences? It's possible. Okay, one other thing, and I'm still going to wrap it all up with a final comment. There was a cat, because he lived and worked in a college inside Oxford University, and it was called Christ Church, and that was where Alice's father was sort of the dean of Christ Church College, the College of Christ Church. and a cat had to be put down, had to be euthanized. And we know from Lewis Carroll's diary that he knew exactly the right amount of opium to give to the cat, suggesting that he had some knowledge of quantities and so on. So that's on the side of like he was aware of drugs. Okay, but to wrap it up for you guys, I would say, and I'm being quite frank with you now, that like in my life, the people that I've known who were sort of in my sort of experience of life, okay, people who use drugs were not very productive. Okay, so I don't think Lewis Carroll was like hooked. Okay, my experience is that people who are as productive as he was, like he wrote all these books, he taught, he did a million things, right? He also wrote books about logic. I mentioned that too. He was a famous photographer. I don't think he was like walking around stoned all the time. I don't think he could have been so productive. So another word of warning, be careful, with your brains. Like you don't have brain cells to blow. So, and my final word to you would be like, the use of imagination is also a very powerful kind of tool. And for some people, drug use is a way of sort of opening up imagination. But why do we need that? Why can't we open up our imaginations just by using our imaginations? So basically what I'm telling you is don't blow your brain cells. Okay, take good care of yourselves. Get like a natural high. I went for a run this morning. That's where I thought of, well, it was also a combination of one of the forum questions. And I thought, okay, today I'll talk to them about drug use. So I am sort of on the side of like, be super careful. And drugs are like, I think I mentioned in class, I have a friend whose son has like severe psychiatric problems believed to be caused, maybe already had a predisposition to the condition he developed, but believed to be caused by pot, marijuana. Okay, so be good, use your imaginations, and I'll be back for YouTube next week. Oh my goodness, 7 minutes, 11 seconds. Well, you get a break from me tomorrow. Bye.